The championship duel that still has this one final chapter to play out. And what a venue for round 20. Interlagos, where 5 titles have been decided before, in a country where they know a thing or two about hat-tricks, and where one man will emerge with his own championship treble. At the end of 71 laps around the Jose Carlos Pache circuit, named after the winner here in 1975 for Brabham. No DRS zone back then, a much different track. Today's DRS zone takes you down to the Descido do Lago, a genuine overtaking opportunity. There is drizzle in the air, there is tension all around the packed grandstands and down on that grid as well. There is nothing quite like a title decider here in Sao Paulo.
Lights come on, look but never stare.
And it's lights out, and away we go for one more time in 2012. Great start from Hamilton. What a start from Massa, already ahead of the 2 Red Bulls. Fernando Alonso goes around the outside, and Sebastian Vettel has already lost places, getting caught in no man's land on the inside. Hamilton squirms away from Massa, and Jenson Button, Paul di Resta challenging Sebastian Vettel now as we ride on board down the Retroposta towards the Descido do Lago. It was a cautious start from the championship leader. It has not played out for him. Looking up and brakes, and there goes Kimi Raikkonen wide and off the track.
And was that...
it's a Red Bull! It's a Red Bull! It's Sebastian Vettel in the middle of the track! It's the worst possible scenario for Sebastian Vettel, who started on the 2nd row and is now running right down at the bottom of the field.
Sebastian, detail doesn't look too bad right now. Detail looks okay.
Down the Retroposta we go, straight forward for Lewis Hamilton. DRS is now enabled, so there's more overtaking possibilities.
Fastest lap of the race so far, Sebastian Vettel in 20th place. Stay tuned, this is far from over, as he's now caught the back of the pack already.
There he goes on Charles Pic, and he moves himself up in the 19th position. That's not good enough, but he's got 68 laps to try and repair the damage here. Hamilton, Button, Alonso, Hulkenberg and Webber, and what a start we got.
And Vettel got away well enough, but it was in the 2nd phase of that. He's now dropped behind his teammate Mark Webber, and they were just coming at him. He was very cautious down there. Hulkenberg with a great start here, and the Ferrari, as ever, just leaps off the line. That's both of them. And Massa then stealing 2nd place there initially, and Vettel was able to get back past Alonso at this point, and had a bit of a wobble as he, that was Webber. Vettel was a little bit further down the field. He really did get mugged into turn 1.
Just look at Mark Webber moving over to the left here. I think he was trying to cover Felipe Massa, who caught the double bluff really by going round the outside. And a great start from Massa. The Ferraris have been brilliant starters all season long. Got past Jenson Button, but Sebastian Vettel almost got covered and then blocked, didn't he, by his teammate?
Yeah, he did get a good start, as I thought, but then he looks like he's having to lift out for Mark Webber there, and that's when they steamed all around the outside, and it cost him dearly. Nearly cost him his front wing there against the Force India.
Now look for Raikkonen braking late. There you go. Almost took out Vettel. That's why he had to move wide, and it was Bruno Senna that went into Sebastian Vettel not once but twice, and Senna then trying a bunny hop over the rear wing of the Sauber.
To be fair, I think it was Vettel turning in on Bruno Senna. He's turned in from very wide on the track, and there were already cars up the inside of him. That's not Senna's fault.
Into the race we go now with Lewis Hamilton 9/10 ahead of Jenson Button, and then Button 1.5 seconds ahead of Fernando Alonso. But Alonso has Hulkenberg right behind him here. Remember, he's got to finish in the podium positions to have a chance of the World Championship, and that is not a given.
No, and if he did finish 3rd, then Vettel only has to be 10th or better. And a big lock up there. And he's gone straight on! Alonso's gone straight on! Brake too late, track's obviously a bit slippery. Here comes Mark Webber. So Hulkenberg is through. And Alonso really struggling, and Webber's on top of him now. Massa's right in there as well.
And he's got DRS as well. Mark Webber moves over. Felipe Massa there, making it almost 3 abreast going into the Descido do Lago. And Fernando Alonso just manages to stay ahead of Mark Webber. Paul di Resta now joining this train of 4 cars as we go down to Ted.
And it started raining harder. That's why we're seeing Alonso off the track. I can see wet tyres being readied in the pits. No one coming in just yet.
Lewis Hamilton and Jenson Button out in front from Nico Hulkenberg, and here now comes Fernando Alonso, who's 5 seconds behind Hulkenberg.
And Vettel then has gone over the line in 8th place. Vettel up to P8. And of course moment. Hulkenberg is absolutely flying. And remember, this is the track he got pole position in exactly these kind of conditions.
This is unbelievable. Kobayashi there squirming around and going off the track. Hamilton's got no grip whatsoever. Button dives down on the inside and the lead change hands once again. It's now Button from Hamilton. Still a McLaren 1-2 as round Ferradura they go.
There is Massa climbing the hill.
And up they go. We can ride on board with Sebastian Vettel now. Down in 8th place, it's Kamui Kobayashi ahead of him. Into turn 1 we go now. Does he pop himself past Kobayashi? He does pop himself past Kobayashi. The battle for the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Button ahead of Hulkenberg, but only just. Hamilton is a further 18.5 seconds back down the road.
Calculus, we expect this rain to continue at this level for the next 30 minutes. We need to make these tyres last.
And what's happened now, of course, is that the need to run both compounds of tyre falls away if you've been on a wet tyre, which of course these two haven't. So that's going to be, we've got drivers out there now with different scenarios. And Jensen then getting a little bit out of shape there, and that's put Hulkenberg onto him. Might well be an easy pass down the outside. Jensen's going to have to get brave on the brakes. Chooses not to do so. Hulkenberg takes the lead.
Unbelievable! For the first time in his Grand Prix career, Nico Hulkenberg now leads a Grand Prix.
There's so much debris on the track.
And it's been there since the opening lap. Guys having just to tiptoe around. We've seen a lot of debris, haven't we, at this first corner? Yeah, evidence there now. What bit of car and whose bit of car has that come off?
Fernando fancies a safety car at this stage of the proceedings. He's 65 seconds off the lead. He's thinking about it, isn't he?
Quite.
So there is a lot of damage. There is a lot of debris. Punctures can be...
Well, maybe that's how Nico Rosberg got his puncture. Let's just have a look here. Certainly, I think he'd already got the puncture.
Yeah, he had, look. It was already, the right rear was already going down, wasn't it, as Jensen came up behind him.
Lewis Hamilton follows behind, then Alonso, then Vettel. Kobayashi right behind Sebastian Vettel. Got to watch out for him. I'm sure at the first turn, the safety car will peel off, and Nico Hulkenberg will lead the train of cars up the hill to complete lap 29, and we can go racing once again here in Sao Paulo. Jenson Button is probably a bit too far back to make a move into the first turn, but already behind Kobayashi has got a great start on Vettel. Mark Webber makes it 3 abreast going into the centre S's. Kobayashi on the inside, Webber's off the track. Kobayashi makes the place, and Webber loses about 4 of them into the first turn. Back on board with Sebastian Vettel. Kobayashi, not great traction coming out through the curve of the Sol, but good enough, I think, to keep Sebastian Vettel at bay, who has now dropped down into 6th place.
So Vettel then obviously caught sleeping on the restart. Nobody, I don't quite know what Mark Webber thought he was doing going down there alongside his teammate. He fancied passing him. Presumably he'd only have to let him repass.
And there's Fernando Alonso under pressure from Kobayashi. Schumacher got past Mark Webber, so Webber down to about 14th place now. Jenson Button and Lewis Hamilton going through Laranja, the right-hander. And Lewis pressurising his teammate there. Sebastian Vettel now comes through. There are 2 places between himself and Alonso.
And Di Resta with that Force India that's very fast in a straight line might just be having a run at Sebastian Vettel at the end of this lap. But Hulkenberg then got away at the front, got the jump on them all, and caught them all napping, particularly Sebastian Vettel. Kobayashi is coming at him. Kobayashi then down in the braking zone of turn 4, and he goes past Alonso. The Sauber is through.
One more Leroy Jenkins moment from Kamui Kobayashi before he waves goodbye to Sauber. Wasn't waiting for an invitation, just barged straight through on Fernando Alonso and through the Esquina del Lago, and up into 4th place he goes. Fabulous. Di Resta getting mightily sideways going through Junxiao, and Kimi Raikkonen doesn't need an invitation. Up the hill we go. Has the Renault engine got enough power to blast past the Mercedes powered Force India? Not quite. Kobayashi's under pressure again as here comes Fernando Alonso in the Ferrari, and after losing that 4th place regains it a lap later. As we watch Felipe Massa now on Kamui Kobayashi. Late braking from Massa, scoots past, doesn't he? Very nice move once again.
Is he back on form or what? They need to back Vettel up. into the chasing pack, which includes Raikkonen and Schumacher.
Look at this, Raikkonen and Schumacher inches apart coming through the centre S's. I think they might have just touched. How they didn't completely come to grief, heaven only knows, but 8 world titles between them. They're not bad drivers, really, are they? That was absolutely sensational.
Look at that, Hulkenberg right on Hamilton.
He is. Hamilton slowed by the back markers. He locks up. Hulkenberg might just go through here and back up into the lead. Oh, they've touched! And Hamilton and Hulkenberg come together. Damage for Hamilton and Hulkenberg. And the back markers getting in the way and seemingly ruining the afternoon for Hulkenberg and Hamilton as Button goes through.
And Alonso into World Championship, taking position then.
Unbelievable. Lewis Hamilton out of the race. Fernando Alonso up into the podium places, but as the light, damp drizzle comes down, Alonso squirming. Oh, he's made a miraculous save to keep that car on the road.
And that would have been horrible if it had spun to the left. They were just clearing Lewis Hamilton's McLaren away at the end of the pit lane.
As we watch Vettel through one car, there's Kobayashi on the left-hand side. They're going to
playing around, is he?
No, they're going to remember this race for a very long time to come, and that's when Kobayashi went wide and Vettel seized his chance.
There's another angle. So Kobayashi goes wide initially, and then Vettel sort of mugs him on the inside, and he's then going to go completely wide.
And Button just slowing down a touch in the last lap and a half just to make sure of this a bit, getting a lot slippier, which is why we're seeing these yellow flags popping up and people sliding on the road. The lead down to 18 seconds now as we head down to Ted again.
An absolutely electric atmosphere down here in the pits. And McLaren, the team boss Martin Whitmarsh.
Ted, let me interrupt. Paul di Resta has crashed right at the final turn here. Double waved yellows. It's a safety car. We're going to finish this race. We're going to finish this championship season behind the safety car because of a crash for Paul di Resta. That will mean that Sebastian Vettel will become world champion here as we watch the replay of di Resta. Just a passenger, Martin. It's all about this man, Martin.
Safety car in this lap, which they do on the last, since we had that fiasco in Monaco with safety car taking them over the line. You can overtake after the first safety car line, but presumably there'll be yellow flags up there.
There should be double waved yellow, certainly, because they won't have cleared it away. Christian Horner, all the pressure is going to result in a huge celebration, a moment of triumph for him and for Adrian Newey and for Dr. Helmut Marko, who are down there on the pit wall, and for this man, Sebastian Vettel. But first, let's see our race winner. Jenson Button, for the 3rd time this season, is going to stand on top of the podium. It's lucky P2 spot again here at Interlagos. He's not going to fly past the checkered flag in the way that he would have expected, but it's Jenson Button that is going to win the Brazilian Grand Prix at Interlagos. It's almost a crawl for him, but he can see now the checkered flag, and he finishes the season on a high. Absolute despair for his McLaren teammate Lewis Hamilton, who didn't finish the race, retired after a crash when leading. Button wins, Alonso second, Massa third, and we look now for the man who's once, who's twice, and is 3 times a world champion. It is Sebastian Vettel for Red Bull. 3 constructors titles in a row, 3 drivers championships in a row. It's trebles all round for Red Bull. It has been a magnificent season. It has been a fantastic effort for the team and driver that were 40 points behind coming back from the summer break. Well, the rest did them good, because for the rest of the season they have been pretty unstoppable.